Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to go through the Minn Kota Vantage and show you all the functions and how I use it to catch fish with boat positioning and speed control. So those are a couple things we're going to talk about today. I'm going to go right through this thing because last year I had quite a few people actually ask me on the water, which I was very surprised, like, what is it? What are you doing with it? Why are you running your boat like that? Tournament anglers, lots of them in Alberta and Saskatchewan already have a Vantage on the back of their boat. So they know all about it, but the regular person does not. Or if you're starting to get into that more competitive fishing or boat maneuvering, you might want one. So we're gonna bust through this thing, and I'm gonna show you out on the water and all the functions, and we're gonna go have some fun. So the first thing that you see with this Minn Kota Vantage is this bracket. That's a support bracket so that it does not sway back and forth, right? Get some of that off there. But one thing you don't want to do when you install this bracket is have it extremely tight that this motor sucks into it, because then what you can happen is the motor can actually get jammed up in there because you have so much tension on it, right? So you always want there to be a little bit of play there, otherwise you'll have jamming issues. Okay, then there's this swivel right here. That should be really good and snug. If you ever take off with your Vantage down, which is obviously a no-no, this here can actually break up and take some of that hit. This here will actually take the motor, swing it up. So that's like a bit of a safety thing there. Bolts on the back, right, with your clamps. Then you have your handle, obviously, right? Adjustable handle. So you can do multi-positions. Extendable handle, extends out, right? Then you have your down, up, your speed control from 1 to 10. So it's just like your Minn Kota bow mount. And this is your engaging button. Push that button in, and that's what turns your power on. You have two buttons, or two lights here: power on, motor down, right? And this is your dial showing you the direction of thrust. So with that pointed that way, you're gonna be pushing the boat backwards. Direction of thrust. This button here, if you pull it back like that, engages you when that's pulled back to lift this up and spin your direction. So I'm just gonna jump up here. Okay, here we go. We're gonna put this guy down. There's down all the way. Now, if I want to change the direction, this is what we're gonna do. Pull this back, lift up, spin the direction, push down, push that pin back in. Now you're pushing the boat now, as opposed to pulling it that way. We're going this way now, direction of thrust, right? Motor's down, down light, turn the motor on to engage, push this button. So now power is on. Now here's your speed control. Here's the prop. Slow it down, spin it up, shut it off. There you go. Push button. You want to bring the Vantage up. You want to hold the button until it goes all the way up. Just like that. Power is now off. So one thing with Minn Kota Vantage is it's a 4-to-1 steering ratio. So it's extremely fast turning. So when you move this handle, it's a 4-to-1. So you don't have to go very far to move your direction of either pulling or pushing you. And here's your 4-to-1 steering ratio. So I'm gonna barely move this. So that's about centered. I'm gonna move this guy a little bit, right? I might have moved that motor, there's straight on, right? I might have moved that 4 inches, 5 inches, and there's your 4-to-1 ratio, right? 4 to 5 inches, moved it that much. There, we're back straight, dial straight, right? Motor straight. Go the other way even. Probably 4 to 5 inches from center, right? And there's your motor angle from the back of the boat. So that's your 4-to-1. That's your 4-to-1 ratio right there. So that helps you turn that boat really fast if you're back trolling, working edges, stuff like that. Okay, let's go have some fun. Okay, we got a scenario. Wind blown point, wind's coming in towards us. There's your point. A lot of guys will use a Minn Kota bow mount to point yourself in the direction of the wind. Vantage, you can also do that with finer tuning adjustments with your speed control, and you can keep yourself right on the spot. Tiller boats and wheel boats, like wheel council boats, a lot of times guys will put splash guards on the backs. They're plastic guards that have a roll, so if you're in really big waves will come up, hit and roll, and you won't hopefully get too wet, but a lot of times you still get wet. So this is one scenario. You can point it backwards, fine-tuning adjustment, keep you pointed right on that point, right? Or that structure that you're fishing. Next thing you can do with it is you can follow the contours and edge your way along using the Vantage. So with fine-tuning adjustments, a lot of guys do this Lindy rigging, so you can go really slow in backward momentum, because it's harder for your boat to gain speed with your back end, right? It won't cut nice like when you're using a bow mount. You'll cut real nice to the water. So by going backwards, you'll be able to go that much slower because of the resistance of the hull, and your Vantage has that slower speed control. So you can just do what we're doing right now, dial her right in to whatever speed you want. And the other thing that helps you do is with a bow mount, you're going over those fish and you're not seeing those fish for probably 15-20 feet right after your boat goes over them. Now by going backwards with a Vantage, your transducer is shooting that way, so I'm actually seeing the fish before I get over top of them, and I can sit right on top, right? Lindy rigging, jigging works really good, dragging jigs and stuff. So you're seeing those fish prior to arriving on top of them by going backwards using a Minn Kota Vantage. Whereas a bow mount, like I said, you're already over past them and over top of them. They're 20 feet behind you, okay? So a lot of times you're too far. So there's your other thing that you can do with the Vantage. Now right now, this is a little chop. Imagine there's 4-footers, 5-foot rollers, keeping you on spot lock. If you only had your Minn Kota bow mount, you might have to run this thing all the way to 8, you know, if you're on 4-foot rollers. So now, depending on how you have your boat set up, what you can do is put down your Minn Kota Vantage, right? Away she goes. Spin this guy. So that the directional dial is towards you. Now what you're going to do is you're going to use this Minn Kota Vantage to help push my boat, because I have it on its own set of batteries, different power supply. I can use this Minn Kota Vantage to help push, to cut down on that power usage of my bow mount. So when I didn't have this, let's say we're in 4-foot rollers, I'm rocking power level 8 on my bow mount. Now I can use this Vantage to help assist that and cut down that draw. So I could bring this guy up to probably 4, cut that bow mount down to about power level 3. So that way I can stay out there all day, sit on that spot, rip jig, vertical jig, whatever, doesn't matter. That's one thing, guys are starting to go to lithiums because of that, because these 20-foot boats, tournament boats, you got 3 batteries for 36 volts. And if you're using a bow mount to keep you spot locked, you're gonna use a lot of that battery power on 8. But some of those guys, they obviously have a kicker on their other side, So you can actually fire up your kicker motor, keep it on low throttle, and help push, right? Minn Kota Vantage probably isn't going to help you. You're using the same power supply, so eventually you're going to be dead in the water by running off the same power supply in that case. But a kicker motor definitely help you out. Gas kicker motor, right? So that's another scenario that you can do. Vertical jigging, rip jigging, help you keep you on that spot with a Minn Kota Vantage. So the next way that you can use the Vantage to your ability is you're out on some flats, you're pulling Colorado blades, pulling crankbaits, stuff like that, bottom bouncing, something else. You always want to be going with the waves. It's a smoother ride. Your batteries are going to last longer. You do not want to fight them. Bow mount on heading lock, right? Now what you're going to do is those waves are going to be pushing your boat. You might want to be going 1.2, 1.5, something like that. You're bottom bouncing some blades, but you're getting pushed 2 miles an hour, 2.5. So some guys will throw a drift sock out the back. I don't like using a drift sock anymore because I got the Vantage. What do you do with the Vantage? You put her down. Now we spin our direction to have our direction fighting back. We engage it and we use this Vantage with its slower increments of speed to slow us down to whatever speed we want to go. You want to be going 1.2, you will be able to go 1.2 in 4-foot rollers. Use this Vantage to hold you back. The waves are pushing you continually, and you use your bow mount to steer, and you can do your fine adjustments right on the back of your Vantage. So that's another way to help you out, bouncing blades or doing whatever. It works actually really good. If you want to go see a video of that, that would have been Waskesiu Lake. I used that technique. Bottom bouncing blades were in some pretty big waves, and I was actually using this Vantage to hold us back for speed control. Okay guys, new scenario. Side drifting. I know it sounds crazy. It's one of those things that you don't probably use very often, but the waves are coming at us here and they're going to push us down this shoreline. Now, depending on the size of the waves and how the wind's blowing, the back of your boat actually drifts less. The front of your boat will always want to swing, and then you'll be pushed from the back end, right? So what you do is use your bow mount, you point it into the waves, you control your speed of the front of your boat drift with that bow mount. Then you put down your Vantage, right? Back of the motor is always going to drift less anyways, but to control your speed a little bit better, you take your Vantage, you point it also towards the direction of the waves, and with your fine speed adjustment, you can hold your drag that much more than just what your motor does, right? So you can have your bow mount. You could be creeping along at 0.2 mile an hour in 2-foot waves if you wanted to with your bow mount, and then slowing your side drift down with your Vantage pointed towards the waves, right? Angler off the front, angler off the back. You're now fishing the span of your boat, which could be 18, 20 feet, right? As opposed to only 2 guys off the back fishing, being blown with that wind. So you're covering a greater area when you're side drifting. You can do it down a shoreline like this. You can do it across a hump. Lots of scenarios like that. So it's another way to use your Vantage with side drifting, right? It's one of those things again where some people might use drift socks, but Minn Kota Vantage can do the same thing with way finer adjustments. Hey guys, just showed you how to use the Minn Kota Vantage, all the buttons, what it does, some techniques and ways to use it for speed control of your boat, utilizing your fishing techniques, right? Side drifting, Lindy rigging, going slow, rip jigging, hold you on the spot, going with the waves, pulling crawler harnesses, bottom bouncing, right? Speed control in big waves, and maneuvering yourself in and amongst boats is another one, because you can use your front end and back end to weasel around. So those are just some of the ways that I know and that I use it to my advantage while I'm out fishing. So if you're interested in it, definitely take a look at it. It sure beats using drift socks, I'll tell you that right now. And it'll definitely help you put more fish in the boat, because speed can be everything. So take care, and thanks for watching Surge Outdoors Angling. Until next time, I'll see you guys out on the water.